we've had some midfield teams score some points in the first three races of the season. We saw them score points with Haas in Saudi Arabia, and then Haas and RB scored points in Australia. We thought leaving Bahrain that points were going to be very, very hard to come by. We thought they were a clear top 5 teams, and none of them had reliability issues. And we said, all right, well, here we go. It's going to be, the bottom half of the field are all scoring 8 points all season long. And RB is almost already at that total. And so maybe those top 5 teams aren't as bulletproof as we thought. If you had to say that there's going to be a midfield team that's poised to pick up the pieces in Japan should they arise, which midfield team do you think that's going to be?
This is maybe a bit of a bold prediction here, but I think this is Williams' weekend. I feel it. They're coming off of a couple of not great races, especially last weekend in Australia with the whole crash and her choosing Alex over Logan and all that stuff. But I'm really, really hoping that Williams bounces back, maybe picks up a P9 or 10. They're my pick to kind of pick up the pieces. I think Logan's going to arrive with a chip on his shoulder, ready to prove that maybe he was the choice that they should have made. So Williams is my pick. They haven't scored any points yet this season, but I think this is a weekend. This is their breakthrough.
I was actually going to say Williams as well. This is a problem. We think too much alike as Formula One fans. That's why we started this podcast together, but that's okay. I was going to say Williams as well. I think this could be a good track for them. We didn't necessarily get to see representative performance from them last year when Alex Albon got yeeted in turn 1 last year. Didn't even make it to turn 1. He was still on the straight when he was airborne. So I could see them having a good weekend here. I think I've said it many times. I think they have underperformed as a team this year. I think they maybe even under-delivered with the car that they brought for this year based on the trajectory that they were on. But I do think they could have a good weekend here. I have to give a quick shout out to Haas as the American team. I think they're doing better than really any of us thought that they would. I think a lot of people predicted them to be P10 in the constructor standings. They've almost already guaranteed that they won't be that with the points that they've scored in 2 races. Anything is possible, so it could still happen, but they've set themselves up very well for the rest of the year. You think back to their car launch and before the season even started, their team principal was saying that, they're going to be 10th and miles off the pace. And that completely hasn't been the case. So I guess if you're a new team principal, maybe the strategy is to, under promise and over deliver, make yourself look really great. Maybe the people in charge at Alpine could learn something from that. But sorry, I didn't mean for Alpine to catch a stray there, but it was just too easy. But yeah, I think Haas has been performing very well this year. I think it's clearly shown that maybe they've fixed some of the problems that they suffered from last year, because last year there were races where they would qualify great and then just, the lights go out and Nico Hulkenberg would fall like a rock and they'd finish P16 and P17, even though he qualified P7. And so I think, maybe they fixed some of those tire wear issues. Every race this year, they've been able to race at the edge of the points and have competitive race pace and race with the cars around them. So I don't know if this is, a one-off thing or if this is the new trajectory of Haas. I hope it is. That would be good to see, because I think we're all upset that Andretti's bid got rejected for a team that we assumed was going to just run last all year. But to see them actually competitive, scoring points, I think is good for the sport. I think it's good for the American fans in Formula One. And so, got to give a quick shout out to Haas because they are definitely overperforming this year.
Yeah. I think they, if you asked me to pick one more team that I think would pick up points, it's going to be Haas, just because, in Saudi Arabia, when Kevin was helping out Nico and backing everybody up to get those points, in P10 for Nico, just great team driving so far, and they did well in Australia. So, they're kind of on a bit of a hot streak, and, they would be the other team that I would choose to pick up the points in Japan this weekend. So, big shout out to Haas, and it's great to see them doing so well so far in the season. So
Williams and Haas, if they score points, the Podium Pusher boys predicted it. You heard it here first.